Morning, guys. What's up, everybody? I'm gonna spin around here, I think. Trying to get out of just seeing what's up today. Everybody up to? Just sit here. I'm just messing around today. It's Friday. What's everybody doing on a Friday? Imagine everybody's working right now, but trying to get here to where I can turn this. Let's see what happens here. Thank you. That better? I don't know. I'm gonna turn you again. Yeah, I went live on my phone here. It's a little easier than the computer, but I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna take this one down. All right. Trying to bring it up here. It says I'm live. Bring it up, see if I can. There we go. Hey, what's up? You mad, bro? Trying to bring it up here. Yeah, shut that off. Screws everything up if I get the volume on. What are you into on a Friday? I'm just messing around. I was outside in the garage for a little bit. Thought I'd come in, do up a live stream real quick. I'm doing it here. I think I'll turn this. I know I'm messing it all up, but it is what it is. So, big plans for the weekend, or yeah, the house is throwing fits on me right now. I had to go out and check the truck out. It's making a popping noise. Turns out it's just something I might have to address here before too long, but it's not bad right now. I think it might be maybe a tie rod end or something getting tight. I'm gonna set this down here somehow. And that's what I was into. I'm just chilling. I gotta go to work here in a little bit. Friday's an early day. Yesterday was Snap-on day, and he didn't show up. Showed up for day shift, which is typical. He almost always shows up for day shift. But the boss is there during the day, so that's why he doesn't want to miss the boss. So, what we'll do tonight, a little bit chilly to have a fire or anything. What else? I joined the Facebook page. What's the name of it? Joel and the Snap-on Junkie, Justin Sturgill. They both started up a Facebook page together for Snap-on tools, Snap-on collectors or something like that. I joined that, put a couple posts in there, a couple tools that I was using, a couple new purchases. That's a pretty cool group. It's a fun page. It's one of the few pages that you don't get ragged on for buying Snap-on tools. Not that I don't buy all Snap-on tools. I got a pretty good variety of stuff. But what else? Nothing else. Yeah, no, it's a boring day. I just wanted to see if anybody was out there. And last time I tried this, I tried to go out to the garage with it, and it quit. It lost the Wi-Fi and quit on me. I thought I could use my data on my phone to go live, and I don't know, it didn't want to work. So I just thought I'd shoot the bull for a little bit, see what's going on. I don't know what time it is right now. It's about 10:45 here, so the only person I know that's a big difference would be Justin Dow. He's out in California there. Frankie M. Tech, he just tried out a live stream a little bit ago, saw that. They're both California, I think. I know Justin is, I think Frankie M. is. And so what, quarter to 8 there. Lot. Big difference, 3 hour difference. I don't even know if she's there anymore. Her grandma that lived out in California. Haven't seen her. Never really knew her that well. I've been trying out my live streams through the day, it's just when I have time. In the evenings, some of the other guys I like to watch go live, so I usually watch them instead of going live myself. Yeah, pretty much everybody that would watch my channel is watching them anyway, so. What else we got going on? Not much. We got, what is today? Today's the 12th. We got about a month. We got a vacation coming up. A camping trip coming up. That's sweet. I'm ready. I don't quite have the camper ready. I gotta get it hooked up to water. Hook the water up, make sure everything's good there. Fill the hot water tank and all that stuff, make sure everything's good. Make sure there's no leaks. Well, I got a little bit of time to fix it if something went wrong, but it shouldn't have. I mean, I had everything emptied out as far as the 12 volt water, and we don't use it. I just hooked it up last year to make sure everything worked, and ran the pump a little bit, but I ran it dry, and then I blew it all out real good, so it should be good. I haven't had a problem with that yet. So we're doing that in a month. It'll be a fun trip. I'm gonna try and get some good video of that on the way down and while we're there. The camping trips this year, I'd like to get a lot of good footage, and I'd like to go live once or twice. The problem is if I can't use my cell data on my phone, then Wi-Fi is kind of sketchy at all the campgrounds. But yeah, we're pretty dry here today, though. It's not raining or anything. Let's see if I can show you guys get out here and show you the garden. step out here too far so I don't lose my Wi-Fi, but if you can tell a little bit of difference, it's right there. This is the garden. Needs tilled terribly. It's bad. It's all weeds. I get some corn stalks and stuff out there, but I got my wood pile up there. I still got another pile of wood back there to split. It is what it is. I can't get to it that fast. The wood that I got left is freaking hard to split. So can't really do much with it without a splitter. I'm getting anxious to, we're halfway through May, and I'm getting pretty anxious to go. I'm just throwing, oh, that's a bucket. Getting pretty anxious to get the garden in. It's time. It needs to go in, and we have to wait for frost to get out of here. But it should be done. We shouldn't have any more frost, I don't think. I'm not gonna stay on here real long if nobody's around. That's fine with me. I just thought I'd throw something up here, see if anybody was around. And nobody's doing much, I imagine. Is anybody east of Nevada, probably, wherever the line is there? I don't know where it's at. Probably at work. Said today's our early day at work. I got to go in a couple hours early, so we can get off a couple hours early, and I get off at 8 o'clock tonight. So that's a good thing. Usually work till 1. Monday to Thursday, we're a late shift. There's my cat, my wife's cat. What are you doing, Rudy? Want to see Rudy? Rudy, hey, there he is. Big cat. What you doing, buddy? He's kind of a cool cat. We don't have a dog. We got 2 cats. One doesn't come around much, and Rudy goes crazy every now and then, but kind of a cool cat, actually. Not a cat person, but he's kind of cool. We'll grab my coffee real quick. Cheers. Black coffee in the morning. And the Yeti. Black coffee in the morning, dark whiskey in the evening. I'm not a whiskey drinker though. I do like a little bit of Crown. I like Crown Royal. I don't think I have any beer left. I think I drank all my beer. Might have a couple out there. Been hooked on the IC Light. Iron City, Pittsburgh beer. Like the IC Light and Yuengling. Sam Adams. Sam Adams is good stuff. Most of their Sam Adams is good stuff. I like the summer wheat, and not sure what the spring beer is called, but I had some of that last week. I went on a trip down to, it was in Columbus, Ohio, and went down there for training. Had a couple of seasonal Sam Adams, the spring beer, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. I haven't looked it up. Man, was it good. It's kind of got a citrus flavor to it, but it was very good. But I like summer wheat too. We'll get into here at the end of this month, and the summer wheat will be the only thing you can find. But that's a good beer too. It's kind of a light citrus beer too. not a lot of people watching here, but you can leave a comment after this goes up. It'll post and be in my videos there. You can put it up, comments up on the video. That's fine. What is anybody that drinks beer? What's everybody's favorite beer? I like the Sam Adams, like I said. In the summer, that's usually my go-to. Lower priced beers is usually I drink the IC Light. If I can find it, it's IC Light. If not, cheaper beer is probably Coors Light. I like some of the light beers. The Yuengling, I like Yuengling too. Yuengling makes a light beer that's pretty good too. It's comparable to the rest of them. They have the hey 802, what's up, brother? How's it going? What are you into? I'm just sitting there BSing with myself, I guess. Talking about beer and stuff like that. Different kinds of beer that I like to drink. I don't drink a lot. I buy a case or something every now and then, and it'll last me a while. But I was just sitting here bored and messing around with some video, and I just decided to throw up a live stream. Great craft beers, yeah. The craft beers are probably my favorite. And the New England, that's what I was just talking about, Sam Adams. The Sam Adams beers are almost all of them are good. The summer and the spring are my favorite. I like their fall beer, but it's not my favorite. I drink it and it tastes good, but I'm gonna have to take the screen down. I got a glare on it. Those are as far as craft beers, that's one of my favorites. Up to no good, buddy. Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you ain't getting arrested, there's nothing wrong with that. I never did see. I mean, I've watched all your videos. How old are you, 802? Eddie, right? I know you were in the military there, and get out of the military, you're in school now. That's cool. But I did go to school too, but it was I didn't go to the military. So my schooling was 20 years ago. I graduated high school, went straight to the tech school out in Western Ohio, and I went there for 2 years, got an associate degree, and that was graduated in '96. Then started working right away. The good thing about tech school for me was the job placement, basically. 31. I got you by a couple years. Exactly 10, actually. So yeah, compared to a lot of guys, you're getting a late start, but that's where you had your military training first. And actually, when I was in college, I went to school with a couple guys like that, just like you had. Probably right around the same age. When I was 20 going to college, 19, 20 going to college, a couple guys around your age now, I mean, they're just like you, man. They just take it serious, and that's cool. And I was taking it serious at the time too, because I just didn't want to be in a dead-end job. But yeah, them guys were cool, because you could learn off of them as much as you were learning off of school. You could learn off of them, because they've already been there and done that a lot of times, a lot of the stuff. All right, man, you too. Have a good one, brother. Appreciate you stopping. So, That's cool. It's awesome Eddie was able to chime in here. That's good. Zero debt. 50-50 here, right? Right. That's the way to do it. See, I went into debt for it. And it took me, oh geez, set up for 10 years. It took me 12 years to pay it off. But yeah, caught 50-50, right? It's, it is what it is. I couldn't pay for it. I took loans out, but that's all right. It's paid for now, and I'm making decent money now, so it's good. I got a good job. So that's awesome. I'm glad you could stop in. So that was it. I did schooling, and I said the job placement is where it's at for school. Is I went to the technical center here in high school for the last 2 years of my high school, and that's a half a day shop, half a day class, and really got me started. You know, my whole time growing up was just, I was mechanical. I took my freaking Matchbox cars apart, my stompers. If anybody knows what stompers are, that's aging me right there. But yeah, I took them things apart. I took everything I had apart just to see how it worked. That's what I was when I was a kid. I did that, and my big thing when I was probably 10 years old, my dad bought me a rear engine lawnmower for me to ride around on the farm. We had a small 8-acre farm, and it was just, you know, we were in 4-H and all that stuff. But, so yeah, I'm mechanical from day one, and so I went to high school for 2 years, and then 2 years at Career Center, JVS type thing, and took a, what was the name of that class? It was equipment repair. It was a general mechanic class. It wasn't auto body, it wasn't auto mechanics. They had a diesel class and they had an auto mechanics class, and I didn't go to either one of those. This was power equipment mechanics. That's what it was. Actually, my instructor just passed away here, a few weeks ago, a month ago. But anyways, so 2 years of that, and I ended up rebuilding an engine and a tractor my senior year. So that was cool. You know, pulled it out, and it was in a 1750 Cockshut, which is Oliver, if anybody knows that. Waukesha engine. Spun a bearing, and we ended up pulling it out, pulling the crank, having it polished, you know, turned and everything. And I ground the valves and everything myself. We had a valve grinder in the shop, and did everything. Put it all back together, and it ran good. It ran really good. We had the pump done at the same time. Had a Rusa Master pump. So anyways, that was my senior year in high school. I did that, and that was just the ticket. I didn't want to be in class. I wanted to be in that freaking shop, turning wrenches on that tractor. So did that, and I graduated high school, went straight to, I had like a week off, and then I went straight to college. Went to Northwestern College in Western Ohio. And what Northwestern Technical School or Technical College they call themselves now or something like that. And went there for 2 years, an associate degree program for diesel technologies, and it was an education. It was. You had a lot of general classes you had to take and stuff like that. It was 6 months of classroom work that you had to take to get the associate degree. And I wanted the associate degree because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go past that. I didn't know if I was going to go back to school. If I ever would go back to school, that associate degree might count for something towards a bachelor's or something, engineering degrees or something like that, which, no, what I know now, I'm not doing that. So, did that, and schooling was fun. I liked it. I hated the classroom, I always hated classroom work. I always hated test taking and sitting in lectures and stuff like that. We had a marketing class that I had to make up, you had to sell something, so you had to just pick anything. I could have sold this Yeti cup, and I had to draw out a pitch for it and all that stuff. I hated that stuff. I didn't want to be a salesman, I didn't want, but it was part of the degree and all that stuff, so I did that. And then the rest of it was The rest of it was mechanical related. He had to take some automotive classes to get to the diesel classes, and you had air conditioning and stuff like that. So it was a good program if you didn't know anything. And some of the classes were a little bit boring if you knew something. They were really boring but you wouldn't be there if you knew everything. So it was a good program, and they really got it off the ground after I was there. It was really taken off. When I was there, like I said, it was '94 when I started there. Just an example, Detroit Diesel was hot and heavy on the 60 series. Well, what we worked on in class were all the two-strokes. We had our Detroit Diesel and Mack were together in one class. For 6 weeks, that's what you learned about. That's all the longer it was. So that tells you how much you could learn. How much you can learn in 6 weeks? Not much. So we had 71s and 92s, Detroits, and we worked on those. I mean, we tore one down. I think it was a 71, a 6-cylinder inline 6. 71 we tore down in class. Those didn't run. You had 4 engines, you grouped up and you tore them down. Same thing with all the engines. It was Detroit Mack, one class, Cat and Cummins in the other class. Those were your engine classes. So we did that, tore the two-strokes down, and they had one 60 series came out of a wrecked truck that somebody donated. And they were setting it up on a dyno. They had 2 dynos. They had the Cummins set up on one, 855 Cummins, set up on one dyno, and the other one had this Detroit on it that they were working on. But they hadn't gotten it running yet. When I left, they hadn't gotten it running, so didn't get to play with that. But we did the tune-ups on the two-strokes. You ran the rack and adjust the valves and everything, and you run through that, and then they run it. So yeah, they had some runoffs. The instructor would stand there with a clipboard, and something happened. He'd throw it over the intake, and it happened a few times. We had a funny story. We had a group in one of the classes that was Cat and Cummins class, and I wasn't around for this. I heard this story. Everybody was talking about it for months. The guy that was teaching the class, I don't even remember his name, he talked about how to add power. And he talked about how guys would do it. Well, on the older Cummins, 855s and the N14s, might have been an N14 on that dyno, but he talked about clamping off the return lines, and they would put restrictors in there and whatever, boost fuel pressure and gain you some power, but you had to watch doing it. You start doing that, you crimp it off too much, then it floods it and it runs off. Well, they did that, and the guy got to it fast enough it didn't scatter the engine, but it took off. So that was a funny story for a long time. And then so that was 2 years of my life there, and then I was not set to graduate for a month or something like that, and I get a phone call. Here it was Peterbilt Mack dealer in Canton, Ohio. Allied Truck Parts, if anybody's ever heard of them. They called me and set up an interview. Wanted me to come interview. So I went over there and interviewed with them and was hired on the spot. The guy hired me there, and he was a good guy. I liked him. I got along with everybody there, and I usually do. I usually get along with everybody. He was a pretty good guy, and got hired on there. I stayed there for almost 5 years, and I learned more. I won't say in the first month, but in the first 6 months I was at that dealership, I learned more about working on trucks than 2 years in school. So the best thing to me, in my opinion, and I don't even know if it's worth it, because I probably could have gotten the job I'm at now out of high school. I just don't know if I'd have been making the same pay-wise. But who knows? Never know. I don't think without the school I'd have had I'd have had that opportunity to get into the dealership like that. That was a big thing for me at the time. I was 20 years old, 21 maybe. I don't even know if I would have been 21. No, I was 20. I was 20 when I graduated college. It was a big thing to me to get into a dealership right out of school. And it was a big learning curve. I walked in that place with some tools my dad gave me and a carrying one of those little Craftsman toolboxes with a tray that you pulled out. That's what I walked in there with. That was, almost laughed out of the place. Everybody was pretty cool about it, and they'd seen a lot of guys come and go, just like any dealership. And there was a guy that was hired right with me, and it turned out he didn't work out. All he wanted to do was scrub floors. And I hated scrubbing floors. We did it a lot because, if it's slow, you kept the shop clean. But I hated scrubbing floors. So I was all about learning. I was all about getting me stuff, getting me going. And once they got me working on stuff a little bit and saw that I was showing interest, I didn't have a carry-on box too long. Snap-on guy showed up with a used bottom and side toolbox. Just a little, it was a Snap-on. Both of them were Snap-on. The side cabinet was, at the time, I don't even know what they compare it to now. It was the older style. And he showed up with that, and I bought that for $500, that unit. And then I went to the flea market and bought a Mac top box and put on there. And used that for a few years before I bought my first big one. But I know I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just trying to get everything in. So I did that 4.5, 5 years, almost 5 years. I was at the dealer, and you just learn so much because they cram it to you. I mean, and everything comes in there. If something comes in a dealership, usually, unless it's warranty work, usually it's the worst of the worst. You get the stuff that nobody wants to deal with. I mean, we did trunnions on Mack trucks, old trunnions, suspension, the big suspension. We did all that stuff because nobody else wanted it. So we did all that stuff, pressing in trunnion bars and replacing the trunnions. You pull the bogies out and replace the trunnion, put it back in. On block trucks and stuff like that. That's big, heavy work, and nobody likes doing it. Replacing frame rails. Nobody's gonna do that in their back, garage like mine, their backyard. So we got all those hard jobs, those crap jobs that nobody wanted. But we got some cool stuff in there. Hartville Ready Mix. They had everything, from mixers and stuff to tractors. Well, they pulled trucks. They ran 3 Macs. They had 3 Mack trucks that they pulled, all V8s. We had all 3 of them in the shop. And the one, Silver Bullet, we had in there, putting a clutch in it. We couldn't find a clutch big enough to hold it. It just wouldn't, it was tearing them out, slipping them. Too much power. I don't know what that thing put down, but it was outrageous. They had a Silver Bullet, a Magnum. They had a Magnum, all black, and they had a Plum Crazy, a purple one. So they were all in our shop one time or another. We got everything. We got honey wagons. We got garbage trucks. Got a little bit of everything in that shop. So, and at the time we had our own pump guy and everything. So I learned a lot there. I was rebuilding Mack injectors and stuff like that. And that was extremely cool. The pump guy was awesome. And so the dealership, I don't have any complaints about the dealership. I actually left there. I didn't like the pressure of the dealership. And I didn't like I guess it's just the pressure. It's the customer work. When you're working for a customer, it's a different scenario altogether. And I wanted to try fleet or construction or something like that. And I knew it was going to be a little more laid back, but I wanted a little more variety. I guess I was getting a little bit burnt out, and some guys don't. Some guys never get burnt out, and that's fine. But anyways, uh, my brother worked for a company, a construction outfit, and they put in allotments, and one guy quit, one mechanic quit. So there it was, job opening. I went and interviewed and was hired on the spot there. And bad part about that was I had just gone to school right after I interviewed. Actually, I went to school for Mack differentials through the dealership, and I came back and quit. So it was one of them things, and they weren't real happy with me. But at the time, they were going through a change of ownership, so I didn't care too much. I got to take a leak. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Whew, too much coffee, you know. All right, so where was I? All right, I had, I did the 5 years at the dealership. They were going through a change of ownership. Somebody was buying them out, and actually ended up being one of the Breck Buellers from Breck Bueller Scales. And that, you're only going to know this stuff if you're from the area, but I know that. So they bought them. One brother bought them, and it's still them today. Same name. But they lost Peterbilt before they changed ownership. They lost the Peterbilt dealer, so they were strictly Mack. Now they're Mack and Hino and Volvo or whatever. I don't know if they're Volvo. They're Mack and Hino. I know that. Anyways, I left there. I went to this construction company, and I say construction, excavating company. And that was the best move I ever made. The atmosphere from dealership to the excavating, it was like a fleet. I mean, it was a fleet. We had 2 trucks, both Macks. You know, it was perfect fit for me at the time. We had an old 2-valve 300 arm auto dump truck and a 4-valve 300 horse Superliner, 4-valve E6, and both E6s 2-valve and a 4-valve. They were right up my alley at the time. You know, I had just come out of that dealership and I was working on those things with my eyes shut at the time. But within 5 years, you pretty much become an expert on most everything in that brand. You know, when you're in the dealer. So right up my alley. I was loving it. They pulled me in there, and I pulled the one engine apart on the arm auto, pulled the 2-valve apart on the bottom end, did bearings and stuff. And so, they started me out on that, and then they worked me into the equipment. So, and at the time, I hadn't got my CDL yet. I didn't want my CDL. At the dealership, I didn't want it. You had to do too much stuff I didn't want to do. Well, they wanted me to get it at the excavating company. I held them off for about a year, and I ended up getting it. It turned out to be the second best thing I ever did, because CDL, if you're a truck mechanic, heavy equipment mechanic, mainly class 7, 8 trucks, and you're working on them and you don't have your CDL, man, you're missing something. Get your CDL and get out there, because companies love it. That's a big thing. And I think CDL and education are the two things that people are looking for when they're looking to hire, and it worked out for me. I love driving trucks too, though. So, but anyway, so they worked me into that. I got into hauling equipment, and I loved it. The other guy didn't care for it too much. I got something here. Yeah, it's crooked. The other guy didn't care for it too much, so I jumped into it. I'm hauling big equipment with the low boy, the excavators and stuff. The other guy would still haul some, but probably not. He wasn't doing it towards the end. He wasn't doing it as much as me, as I liked it, and he knew that, so he gave it to me. There's only two of us in the shop, and three most of the time. The other mechanic, his dad had retired from this place, but he was coming back and helping. So a lot of times there was three of us in the shop, and this guy's dad just wanted to stay busy, is what it was. So we did that I was there for a little over 4 years, and they ran themselves into the ground. So it was a family business. They weren't real big. But yeah, they ended up running. The dad didn't want anything to do with it. He wanted to give it to his boys, and they gave a big speech that they were going to, had a 5-year plan, all this bullcrap. And they went out the next year, auctioned everything off. So, what are you going to do? Put me in the job market again. And that's how I ended up with this job. But that's another funny story, because 4 years at this place, excavating company, working on heavy equipment and trucks, and went on unemployment. And at the time, I wanted to ride out on unemployment a little bit, and so I did for a little while. And this place called me, the one I work for now, and I told him no at first. I wasn't sure I wanted to work on cement mixers. It was intimidating to me to work on cement mixers, because I'm thinking, I don't know. I had worked on the equipment. I don't know why it was intimidating, but it was. I wasn't sure I wanted to get back into a whole fleet of trucks. I kind of wanted to stay in the equipment, or go a different direction. I wanted to maybe go into agriculture, tractors and farm equipment. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I did stay on unemployment for a little bit. And then another company called me, a trucking company. And they called me and they bugged me. They called me 3 or 4 times in a week. It was like, I ignored him a couple times. And I thought, you know what, this guy is going to bug me until I talk to him. So I talked to him, and he come across as one of the guys that, if I told him no, he's going to screw up my unemployment anyway. So I went and interviewed with him. He showed me around. Basically, I was afraid to tell the guy no, so I told him I'd start for him, and he had some stuff down. He had trailers down and stuff he needed fixed, and spring work and stuff like that. So he wanted me to start. I interviewed on a Friday. He wanted me to start Saturday. I said, can't we start Monday? I don't want to, I told the guy, I don't want to screw up my unemployment. He said, we won't, all this bull crap. But the more I thought about it, I was getting a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this job. So I'm like, I don't want to work for this place. I just don't want to go to work for this guy. And part of it was the guy was pushy. And part of it, if you ever work for a boss that's pushy, he's going to be over your shoulder all the time too. So I said I would, but when I interviewed the other mechanic, there was one other mechanic at this place too. And this is closer to my home. My first 2 jobs were an hour away from where I live now. So this was closer to home. I wanted to come back closer to home. Closer to where my mom and dad live, and stuff. So anyways, this guy told me, all this bull crap, filled me full of stuff, and I said, all right, I'll start tomorrow, which was a Saturday. I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but, it is a job, it's steady money, So I did, but I didn't start. I got a bad feeling on the way home. I'm like, son of a gun, I don't want this job. So I stopped in at the place I work now. I was almost past it when I decided to stop. I mean, I kind of slammed on the brakes, pulled in. I went in to talk to my boss and the fleet manager there. And I asked him, I said, is the job position still open? And the one you offered me, is it still open? I said, yeah. He says, asked me about money and stuff, whatever, and I told me what shift. He said it was going to be afternoon shift, which I was on day shift at the excavating. I went afternoons, days, afternoons. So afternoons at the dealer, days at the excavating company, and then this place is afternoons for me right now. So still, but it was at the time. And we talked about all that stuff, and I said, cool, yeah. He said, yours if you want it. So, and at the time, my uncle worked for him. And he was the one that kept bugging me. He kept telling me to come put an application and all this stuff. Just because I didn't want to go work for the other company, the first trucking company that bugged me, I stopped and asked him about this job. And he said, it's mine. So I took it, and I've been there ever since. Now, the first two jobs, 5 years, the first one, 4.5 at the second one. I've been here for 12 years. I love it. I love the place I work now. So it's worked out. I'm close to my family, and I make decent money. I'm not making a killing, but I make decent money. So it works. And this place here has some equipment. So there is a variety. We have loaders and skid loaders and stuff like that. There's a man lift. I mean, there's some different stuff, forklifts, but it's mainly trucks. And the cement mixers, turns out, is my favorite thing to work on, pretty much. I don't mind them. I like working on them. They have an explosive, strip mining explosives company, and those are mostly all trucks. They have some drills, but they have their own division for the drills. The trucks, they come in. It's the concrete company is the parent company, and any other one. So it's mostly trucks, and I like it. 7 and 8s, and a whole buttload of pickup trucks. They have a whole ton of pickup trucks. Because everybody and their brother seems to have one, and they buy. I call them ice cream boxes. I don't know what to call them. It's a box in the bed of a regular pickup truck, and they carry the sticks and stuff for explosives, caps, and whatever they need to carry in them. They have pumper trucks, which are the class 5, I believe, 5500, yeah. So they have a little bit of everything, and it's a good job, and it's a good place to work. Nobody's on your back, so it's definitely worked out. So that's my life in a nutshell, as far as work goes, and how I became a mechanic and everything. But I've never put up a video like this, and it's live now, so it's not going to get edited. I didn't say anything stupid, I don't think. But, well, I'm going to throw another thank you out to Eddie for tuning in there, and you mad bro. Thanks for watching. So I'm liking the YouTube thing. It's a lot of fun for me. Sometimes the editing gets a little bit frustrating, but I am having fun with it. When I'm not having fun with it, I'll probably just quit. Nobody will ever see me again. But I am having fun with it, and I try. I don't have a lot of stuff, so I don't have a lot of money to put into it. I have an older video camera that's done all my taping so far, and I just got the iPhone 7, so I'm trying to do some video there. And there's something different about it with my editing software. It doesn't want to be compatible, but so anyways, I'll try and get that figured out, because I tried to take some some video driving one of the trucks, and it messed up big time. So I'm not sure what went on, but it didn't want to. I have to convert the video because it's recording in a format that's not recognized or something. So, anyways, it didn't work. So I couldn't edit the video. So I couldn't put it up. I was going to put that up today. I couldn't do it. So I got some stuff to figure out with that, and I got no way to hold the phone. So I'm holding it with my hand and everything. I need a tripod or something that'll hold the phone, or even just I don't know, maybe I'll just buy a selfie stick and whatever, but I can't put a bunch of money into it right now. Excuse me. If I could put any money into it, I'd have a GoPro, and we'd be getting some shots of the Dodge and stuff, driving shots and whatever. I need to do another intro. I know my intro is getting kind of old, but it's stuff like that. You know, the videos is a different aspect to it, puts a different spin on things. So it's when you're working on something and you got a video camera going, it makes things a little bit different, and you're trying to think of, you know, not getting in the way of the camera and trying to show everything. It's not the easiest thing, and that's originally why I started a YouTube channel, trying to help people out, you know, and there's a whole ton of channels on YouTube that's the same way. So I was getting questions from people I know, so I started a YouTube channel for that. And I don't even know if some of those people watch me, so whatever. But I haven't, you know, since then I haven't even done a lot of repair videos. It's just been me screwing around a lot of times. So, and then I don't want it to be all tool videos. I did a bunch of tool videos, and I'm not going to quit the tool videos. I like doing the tool videos, the reviews and the, you know, the new stuff that I buy and whatever. I'll still show that stuff. I like doing that, but I want it to be more than that. You know, I want to do some video on vacation and stuff, and showing some of that. And I'd like to get my family involved a little bit. So. And my wife doesn't like being on camera, and I think part of it she's afraid that people are going to criticize, and I don't blame her. I mean, people do. They're going to criticize me and stuff like that. So, and I've had a little bit of that go on. I'm pretty good at letting it roll off my back, and she's not. So I don't know how much she'll be on camera. The girls, you know, I got 2 little girls. They love the camera. So we'll see. I mean, that's the other thing. My wife's not real crazy about them being on camera either, but it's, in my opinion, you can't be afraid your whole life. I mean, if they like it and they're having fun with it like I am, I'm good with it. And so we'll see. We'll see what goes on this summer. I really hope it turns out good. And I think it will. I think we'll have fun this summer doing that, and obviously, you know, there'll be more tools to come along, maybe an updated toolbox tour kind of thing, and I gotta clean that sucker up. I gotta get some detailer and clean that up. The bad thing about where I work is it's super dusty, so I can't keep the box clean. I clean it, and the next day it's all covered in dust again. And I do have a cover for it, but it doesn't zip anymore. The zipper broke a long time ago, and but it does help. And I've had it covered forever since I've had it. It gets a layer of dust on it, and part of it has been on there so long I can't get it off real easy. So I need a detailer, stuff like Meguiar's or something. I'll get some of that, get it cleaned up, and do another tour. But it's not. I haven't added a bunch of tools, so I don't want to do one like every couple months or something. That's kind of, people are going to get tired of that. I'm going to get tired of that. I don't want to do that. So if I change something major, which I'm thinking about, and I got to get some holders, but if I end up doing it, I got to get some plier holders. I want to change my drawers around a little bit. I want my pliers to be standing up because I can get a whole bunch more in there. Right now, some of them, it's not real bad, but some of them are starting to pile on top of each other. The drawers just aren't big enough for that, and But I've got them in a shallow drawer, and I want to put them in one of the deeper drawers so I can stand them up, and that'd be cool. I really like that look. I like the accessibility of it and stuff like that. But I don't have any of the plier holders either, so if I get them, I'll be good to go. So, and then, but I got to look at it because I don't know. The only deep drawers I have, might switch out with my hammer drawer, but it's kind of low, so I'm not sure. My deeper drawer, it goes, shallow, 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 deep, deep, and then my real deep drawer. So we'll have to see if that's going to work out. Like I said, my vice grips, I'll have to show it sometime, but I stood them up, but there's no holder, so they're just leaning up against each other. So it's okay, but it's not perfect. I don't know, getting to the point where I'm going to start changing a few things around. It's been the same for a long time, and it might just be time for a change there. But I talked to the Snap-on guy a couple times, and this is never going to happen. He wants me to upgrade, and he did have a tool. See, I've got the tool wagon. I love the thing. People rag on that thing. They say, "Oh, it's not that nice in person." It's my thing. I like it, and when I bought the thing, I could have had the Mr. Big for the same price. The same thing Jay Young has. I could have had that box for the same price I bought the tool wagon for. And I don't know if it would have been a good move, because I like to keep a lot of stuff in the cases and boxes, not boxes, but the cases, the blow molded cases, and I like that. So I keep a lot of that stuff in cases, and that's where the lockers come in handy. So I'd have had to buy a locker on top of buying the Mr. Big, at least one locker, and I didn't want to do that. So I bought the tool wagon. I like the tool wagon. It's my box. It's perfect for me, and that's what counts. Whatever box you're using, if it's perfect for you, it's you. It's yours. You got to live with it. You got to like it. If you like it, perfect. So anyways, he had that royal blue triple bank tool wagon, a new one. He had it on his truck. Oh my, that thing is nice. I mean, they're sweet. There's no two ways about it. And it's the thing about the new ones is I don't know what they did exactly. They might have added a drawer. I know they got two long drawers, and mine only has one. That might be the difference, but they're a few inches higher. I think it's 3 or 4 inches taller than mine. So that makes a big difference, and I think you do get at least one more drawer, but here's what it is. Hey, what's up, Ross? Old man, who you calling old? What's happening, brother? Tool talk. Yep, I'm talking tools, I'm talking life, I'm talking everything. I've been on here almost an hour now. Just right now I'm talking about my toolbox, how I got my toolbox and everything. You're the second guy I've had chime in. So yeah, I'm just talking about my box and how my dealer's been trying to talk me into a new one, and I'm not for it. I'm not spending another. Well, to put it in perspective, I bought my box about 10 years ago. Well, I'm really glad somebody loves my videos. Besides my wife. My wife likes my videos too. I love your videos too, Ross. Yeah, I help Ross with his semi truck. The Dupreys, thedupreys.com. Go check them out. They're my favorite YouTube channel, especially for as far as camping goes. I got my camping section and I got my tool section, and they usually don't crisscross too much. But I started helping Ross out a few months ago. We've become good friends. I love you guys, Ross. You're the best. And I can't tell. I got the comments on my computer, and I'm doing it on my phone. So it's the lag. I'm dealing with the lag. But yeah, Ross has a 96 Volvo Toter, and I love helping you, Ross. I love working on trucks, and it just comes easy for me most of the time. I mean, some of the stuff can throw you a curveball, but it's my thing, I guess. So back to my story. He's trying to get me to buy a new box, and it didn't happen. But he had this royal blue tool wagon on the truck, and that thing was gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I just fall in love with him when I see him. Thanks, buddy. And it was the triple bank. So it had mine. It's a double bank. It has 2 banks to it, and this was the triple bank, so it's extra wide compared to mine. And I was just loving it. I think the lockers might be a little bit bigger too, but I said no way. I mean, when I bought mine 10 years ago or so, no, more than that. Mine's probably 15 years old, 14 or 15 years old. I bought mine. I paid $12,000 for it, which is a lot of money to me. $12,000, and was a sticker on it. So I bought that 15 years ago for $12,000. That box today, that triple bank, he was getting rid of it. He was moving it, and he was dealing on it, and he still sold it for I think 22. So that tells you what kind of difference there is, inflation wise. They've gone way up. The triple bank, I think, retails for like $28,000. Put me on cam. All right, I'm gonna be in a Ross Dupre video. I love it. Yeah, I hope these live streams go really well. I want, I'll have to do one with more prime time setting there. I'd like to do that, and see if I can get a few more people watching. It's fun to me. I don't get a lot of people to BS with. I have a couple friends, and I shoot the bull with them. And I probably should have called Ross, huh? I should have called you, Ross, and let you know I was going live. It was a last minute thing, and I just thought, well, I'm going to try this. I got to keep an eye on the time, because I got a little bit of time. I got to go to work early. I'm going to leave about 12:30. Then I haven't had lunch. I'm going to have to get something for lunch. So I'm... the toolbox, the toolbox thing, it just works for me. That, and I love the black. To me, my first box was red, which is Snap-on is the Snap-on red, and that's their thing. And the black got me. I loved the black. When I bought my box, they were just coming out with that tool wagon. It was a brand new thing, and I watched it on a video. My tool dealer at the time said, "You got to see this." He said, I was talking toolboxes, and I had a double bank, but I just had the double bank and the bottom double bank. Hey, Jack. And I had a small side box, and I had my small top box. So it was a decent setup, but I had what it was is I had no room. I keep reading Ross's comments. He's on a call. Well, you got to stay working. You got to keep bringing that money in. Make some money on this one, would you, Ross? Make some money. Build that house. So, where was I? You're making me lose my place, man. You're making me lose my place. So I had the double bank set up, and I was losing room because I was buying big stuff. I was buying stuff in cases, tap and die sets, stuff like that. I couldn't fit it in. So I was running out of room in that box. And if I'd have taken everything out, blow molded cases, it probably would have worked for a while. Or I was going to buy a locker, and a locker at the time was $3,000, and I didn't want to spend $3,000 on a locker. So what I do, I went to the truck, and he showed me this video, and he says, you can get one of these two boxes for the same price, but he said, look, watch this. And it was the tool wagon, and they hadn't released it to the public yet. It's the same. No, I hate work. Oh, you don't. House, what? I'm broke. You're not broke. You're broke, but he got eventually. I meant you gotta save your money. Oh my, Ross, you're a cool dude. And you'll build it. Build it out of toothpicks or something. You need a toolbox like mine. Yeah, I'll sell you mine. Buttercup's not sure. Harbor Freight doesn't have bad boxes. They're the Harbor Freight boxes. The Harbor Freight, you're right. The Harbor Freight boxes are a U.S. General brand. And I'll talk about that in a second. Let me finish my story real quick. So I ran out of room. I was watching this video on this tool truck, and he showed me the video of the tool wagon, then he showed me the video of the Mr. Big. And if you don't know what either one of them are, look them up. You can see the tool wagon on my channel, or you can look it up at Snap-on. And I went with the tool wagon because of the lockers. The big storage, So that's where that came about. I told him, I said, I'll if you get one, I'll look at it, but I can't guarantee I'm going to buy it. He said, well, I'll get one. He said, I'll sell it. This is a young kid. So he says, what color would you like? I don't know. I said, I'm tired of red. I didn't know what I wanted. So I said, you know what? Black. He got that sucker on the truck, and it barely fit. I'm like, I fell in love, so we unloaded it, and I got it. I still have it. So that's my forever box. So that's, Harbor Freight boxes. They are U.S. General, and U.S. General is not too bad. Now, I have a video up of toolbox comparisons, and the one, I showed drawer slides, and of course the Snap-on one is huge compared to the other two, but there were 3 different sizes, and the middle one of those slides was a U.S. General, and it's bigger than Craftsman. It's heavier than Craftsman, so they're actually not that bad. And I know a couple guys that have the U.S. General boxes, and they work really well. Where you come into trouble is when you start stacking them and overflowing the drawers. The slides don't last that long, but the actual quality of the box is not that bad. It's pretty good, and they are cheap. Their prices are good on them. So I don't discourage anybody from any box. I'm not a snob when it comes to toolboxes or tools or anything. I like what I like, and everybody else can like whatever they like. So I don't say anything. I don't care what anybody else has. It's more like, people say it all the time. It's more the mechanic than the tools or the toolbox. I went the direction I want because I wanted to, and I like it, and that's all that matters. You gotta like what you like. You gotta like what you got. So if you got a Harbor Freight box and you're not happy with it, go with something else. If you got a Snap-on box and you're not happy with it, trade it in on something else. That's all there is to it. It's a game. It's all a game. So I don't care. I like the Snap-on products, most of them. I'm not sold on everything. I'm not a snob with it. Like I said, I've got a couple of things from Matco. I've got a whole bunch of Craftsman. I got a whole bunch of everything. I got some cheap no-brand tools in my box, and some of them work, some of them don't. Most of the stuff that don't work don't stay in my work box too long. But I got some stuff out here in the garage. It's no name, and it does what it has to do for what it's doing. It's not a hard use kind of deal. So anyways, that's all there is to that. So, hey Ross, if you're still watching, did you get your driveway done today? I watched your video this morning. I left you comments too. I left you comments. That's right. I comment on a lot of videos. I try not to be negative about anything. And I hope this doesn't come off because one of the guys I watch a lot, as far as tools, Justin Dow, I commented on one of his last videos, and he showed what he got off the Cornwall truck. He bought one of those plastic creepers, and it looks like a Jeepers creeper from Lyle. He bought one of those, and I hate those creepers. I've used them. I hate them, and he bought one. He loves it. And that's fine. And that's what I said. I don't care. It's his creeper. But I commented on it that, a good video and everything. I was real positive until that. I was like, man, except for that creeper, I hate them things. I hope he didn't take that wrong. I know he usually doesn't care either. He's a cool guy. So, but I'm going to hop off here, I think, get me something to eat. I've been on here for over an hour. I didn't expect to be. But a couple guys, 802 stopped in, Eddie from 802 and Ross from the Dupreys. They're so happy you guys were able to watch, and I'm glad everybody, you chime in like that. It's a lot of fun to do this when people are interacting and watching. So I might give it a minute or two here, and then I'm gonna have to get something to eat here. I got to go to work in a few minutes, but well, not a few minutes, about a half hour or so. And I don't know what else. Like I said, that's my toolbox. My toolbox talk there. I wasn't always a Dodge guy either. Change directions here. I always liked the diesel engine, obviously. I'm all about diesel. I remember when these Cummins when they came into the Dodge trucks. The B Cummins been around for eons. Cavemen used the B Cummins, but when they started putting them in Dodge trucks in like '88, it was a different world. It was like, wow. Now we have a diesel engine, because there were diesel engines in pickup trucks before that, but Chevy had them and Ford had them, and Dodge wasn't using them until '88 or something. But if anybody knows, the 350 Chevy and the 6.2 and the 6.5 and the old 7.3s and 6.9s Ford was using. The first ones of those just weren't no powerhouses. They were mostly reliable, but they weren't powerhouses. They didn't have a lot of power. So they brought this Cummins out, and it doesn't take people long to figure out if they can get power out of something. They were getting big power out of these Cummins. They're not powerful from the factory. They just aren't. They weren't. They are pretty powerful now. Pretty good now, but other than the emissions, but the power's there. So when they started bringing that out, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, And I'm all about easy to work on, obviously, too. So inline engines were perfect for, an inline six. Why not? Put it in there. That's what I thought. Instead of these V6s and stuff in a half ton, I think 4-cylinder inline. I think that's the way to go. And they did it with Duramax, with the Colorado and the Canyon. But I think a bigger 4-cylinder, like the B, the 3.9 B Cummins, put that in a half-ton pickup, I think you got something. There's other manufacturers out there that make inline engines too. I don't know why everybody wants to. I understand the big power, the quick spool up, the quick everything for a V engine. I just think the inline's more reliable and makes a little more torque and stuff. So anyway, there wasn't always a Dodge guy though. My dad had a Dodge pickup gas job in the early '80s, and I liked it. Just wasn't my choice of trucks. I always kind of liked the looks of the Ford. So when I was able to buy a truck, I bought a Ford, and then when that one was gone, I bought another Ford. And so I had a 2000 Super Duty. Was my favorite truck. I think I liked that truck more than I liked this Dodge truck. But it was a gas. It was the 5.4 gas, which was okay. I did about as much as I could do. I didn't put headers or nothing on it, but I did some bolt-on stuff to it, and I programmed it, and it ran pretty good for a V8, which isn't real big. 5.4 isn't real huge. So it ran all right, and I liked it. 4-wheel drive, standard cab, 8-foot bed is all it was. It was a work truck. Had roll-up windows, manual locks, all that stuff. I just liked, but it had air conditioning. Is all I cared about. Didn't even have cruise control. I didn't at the time. Didn't want all that bull crap. I just wanted a basic truck. So I bought this truck, and it ended up rotting out. But I had it for 6 years or so, and it was pretty well rotted by the time I get rid of it. It came from Canada and had a plow on it. And I didn't use a plow. I didn't have a plow with it, but it had one on it. Anyways. I liked that body style, the 99 to 03 or 04 body style I liked a lot. And so I really hated getting rid of that truck, but we did it for family reasons to get my wife into something nicer. It helped out. I traded it in. Got nothing for trade-in, but it helped a little bit, bring payment down a little bit. So I did that. And I went without a truck for a little bit, and I found this one sitting at a local dealer, small dealer, not a big brand dealer. Local dealer, that gets auction trucks and some trade-ins. And this was sitting there with a price tag on the window. He doesn't usually label his trucks with prices. I go buy it all the time. Excuse me. So I stopped and looked at it. I had my wife with me the first time. I stopped and I looked at her over, and I even talked to the guy a little bit. And I wasn't ready to, I didn't think my wife was going to go for one thing. But the truck I have now, if you're watching and don't know, is a 2001 3500 Ram. It's a cab and a half dually, with the Cummins. So I like the Ford, but I like this powertrain a whole lot better. The Cummins with the 5-speed is the ticket to me. I love it. So this thing was sitting at a local dealer, and I stopped and looked at it and talked it over with my wife, and she ran the numbers, and we ran the numbers together, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't want to give him what he wanted for it, and I wanted a certain, underpayment. So my wife said, if we can't get this payment, you can't do it. You just can't. I talked to the guy a couple times on the phone, and I said, I don't know. I'm just going to let it go. And my wife said the next day, are you going to go look at that truck? I go, I suppose. I hadn't even driven it yet, so I might run up there. I hadn't driven it. I rode up there and talked to the guy in person again, and I said, let's fire it up. So he fired it up, and it had a little bit of rust issues when I bought it, and I'm seeing that. So he popped the hood, we fired it up, and it had a broken exhaust stud, but you look around it, and you can tell a lot just from popping the hood, because the engine can be clean. If you look around and look at your frame rails, your battery trays, that kind of stuff, you can tell what has been done. This thing had no rust on it. I mean, a little bit, but surface, just barely surface. It wasn't all crusty like a bunch of them. I mean, I've seen Dodge trucks. You pick the hood up, and the thing that holds the grill, the support on the grill, is just gone. I mean, the freaking grill is flopping. So this one wasn't like that, and I crawled underneath it right there in the parking lot, and no rust. This is an '01. I've had this truck 5 years now. Ross says he has an older Craftsman box. made better. Hey, Ingenious Camper. How's it going? Yeah, Ross, those old Craftsman boxes are pretty nice. They are. They're built a little bit heavier. The newer ones are okay, but yeah, the slides on the new stuff are just not great. Core supports, yeah. Right, core supports on the older trucks, they just rot out, Ingenious Camper. So, yeah, I've looked at a bunch of them, they're like that. They're all rotted out there. I crawled underneath and the brake lines, the fuel lines, everything was just perfect. It was not perfect, but I mean really close to it. So not a lot of rust on the thing. So I ended up driving it, and I fell in love with it when I drove it because I love shifting gears. My wife can't drive it, but I do love shifting gears. Yes, just now, yeah. So I made the guy a deal on her. I traded in a car that I had at the time, and that was how this truck came to be. And then I ended up doing a couple side jobs, and all right, got your driveway in, and that's awesome. Can't wait for that video. So I did a couple side jobs and got some money built up, and ended up doing some work to the truck. And I bought my gauges, and I bought the gauge pod for the gauges, and I bought a programmer, the Edge, not the Edge Juice, the Edge Comp box, and the pyrometer gauge. Put all that stuff together, and did that. So I pretty much have the truck where I want it, and that's the thing about the Dodge. The Ford I didn't have to do a lot to, and the Dodge I did the body work to it right away. So it had the bottoms of the doors were rusted, and the cap corners and rockers. Yeah, yeah. Buy the kid some food and pop or whatever. Pay him cheap, pay him a couple bucks, and do his labor for him. Yeah, Ross, that's what you need to do. There you go. That's a good idea. So the thing about the Dodge truck to me versus the Ford is I didn't have to do much to the Ford. I did do ball joints on the Ford because it had a plow on it, and they needed done. So I did those. But the Dodge, I've already done 2 wheel bearings, one on each side. I've done ball joints and tie rod ends, and the dash is cracked. The gauge surround is cracked. What else? I did a steering box on it. It's that kind of stuff. The Dodge has its own set of problems. Well, Ford has its own set of problems too. My engine in that Ford was getting tired, and the right side head gasket was pushing some oil out, so it was going to need some work too. They're just different in different places, different problems, different places. But it didn't seem like I had to do as much to the Ford truck. Now, like I said, I'm sacrificing that because I could have held out and got another, whatever. Could have pretty much got whatever truck I wanted, held out. But I wanted pre-emissions, and I like standard transmission because I like to shift gears. And this truck has that stuff, so I don't have to worry about all the other stuff. It already had an exhaust on it, MBRP exhaust, 4-inch into 5, and it works. It's a good one. Buy a dash cover one that's not shiny, yeah. Yeah, I've looked into them, and there's one, you might know this, Ingenious Camper. I don't know, I don't remember the name of it. If you remember the name of it, you can post it up here and remind me. But there's a dash cover out there that offers a lifetime warranty. They guarantee it forever. It's a never crack, never fade, all that stuff. It's guaranteed for life, and it just silicones down onto the old dash. So I've checked into it, but it's like $300, I think, 3 or 3.5, somewhere in there. And I don't have the funds for it right now, so The dash, it's got one crack that goes up right in front of the steering wheel. It started right at the front, and it cracked through the vent for the defrost. It's about 3/4 of the way up now, and that's over 5 years. I mean, that's all the more it's cracked in 5 years. But I want to do the cover before it gets too bad. I don't want I don't want big holes in it or whatever. So it doesn't take much to figure that stuff out. Last time I was checking into it, I Googled it. That's all I did, and it came right out. Came right up, and had videos for it and everything. So one of these days I'll do that, and I'll get a different cover, the surround for the gauges. As I did, what happened to the surround is I don't think it had ever been off. So I pulled it off. When I pulled it off, I grabbed the top of it. Well, the top of it was what was brittle. If I'd have grabbed the bottom and started pulling it off on the bottom, it might not have broke. I still think it would have broke partially, but it fell apart. I broke chunks off, and I ended up like gluing it back together, and we like plastic welded it back together. Covercraft.com. Okay, I'll check that out. Thanks. And I glued it back together, and we had one of those plastic welders at work, and another guy I work with has his own. So we did some of that, and it doesn't look perfect. And then but it was way better than it was, and it was together. We put the old pieces back in it and everything, and it actually worked out pretty decent. And then I bedlinered the top of it, and I think I showed that a couple of my videos. If you watch my Dodge Ram videos, I did one of those 5 or 6 things I hated and loved about it, 2 different videos. But the dash surround is in there, and it's got a bed liner on it, Raptor bed liner. I had Raptor linered those are the custom rug style. Yeah, I've seen those too. The one I'm talking about is it's like a vinyl, almost like what's in there, but it's more flexible. It's a plastic, but it's not as rigid as what's in there, and it just glues down on top. Like you use silicone and it glues down on top, and they guarantee it forever. I like I don't know if I want the rug style or not. I kind of want it to look like this. Looks almost factory when you do it. I kind of want that, but then again, I don't know if I want to spend the money on it. So I'm gonna check those out. Covercraft.com. Check it out. There's a heat gun and glue gun. Yeah, I actually tried a right. I think what happens is it ends up cracking through the glue again, and it's just a pain in the butt. I tried some of that. That's kind of what the plastic welder does. It uses a plastic rod, and you heat it up and work it in there, and it melts it all back together. It did that, and it cracked through it, and then it just kept cracking more. So I gave up on that. I'll cover it one of these days as soon as I can get the money to do it. And they sell the new dash surrounds that are supposed to be guaranteed too. So I'm gonna do that one of these days. It's not the biggest priority because it's just me driving it. You know what I mean? I just don't want it to completely fall apart, and then I have to go buy another Dodge. Yeah, I don't want all that. So as much as I can, I'll get it after it's heated. Oh yeah. See, you know more about it than I do. I would have never thought of that. Using a leather strap to make the imprint pattern. Well, you know what? Might have to play with it a little more, huh? Maybe I can. I'll try some things. I'll throw up the video camera and start trying it, and I'll just edit out whatever doesn't work. The power of editing, right? So we'll do some of that. I'm gonna get some video of that stuff. I did go out. I said I had to check the front end out again. I got something popping up there, but there's nothing loose. So I don't know if I got a tie rod end getting tight on me or what, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it. It's gonna be fine. I don't, as long as nothing's getting loose on it. They don't put grease fittings on nothing anymore. Ball joints have, top ball joints have grease fittings. The bottom ones don't. So it is what it is there. As long as they don't have a wheel bearing going out or a ball joint going bad or anything getting loose as far as the steering, I'm good. If it's not too UV damaged, it might work. Yeah, I think that's probably why they break in the first place. I don't think they handle sun very well. And that's probably why mine cracked more, is because I drive it to work and it sits out in the sun. I try and keep the windows cracked just a little bit just to get airflow through there. How are the U-joints? Yeah, it's 4-wheel drive. I may have a tight U-joint on the right side. The left side's the greasable one. Here's the other dumb thing. Dodge put a greasable U-joint on the left side, on the driver's side, and on the passenger side they use a U-joint that's not greasable. Ever seen something so stupid? I don't like non-greasable U-joints. I like to be able to grease them because I take care of my stuff like that. I keep it greased and lubed, and so that might be it. I haven't checked it. I'm checking it out by myself. I'm having a hard time checking that out, but I did make sure, I check the ball joints. I can do all that. Check the ball joints and the steering linkage. It's all tight, and it's free. It's not like it's binding real bad. I don't have anything binding. I don't feel it anyways. Could be that U-joint though. I'll have to jack it up again and check that. Yeah, petroleum products are bad for plastics and rubbers. Yeah, I know. So that's why. Is that why they tell you not to use Armor All? Because I've heard don't use Armor All on Dodge dashes. That's what I've heard. Because it makes them crack worse. That might be true. I don't know what to use on it. I don't use much anything. I've used glass cleaner just to get the dust off and stuff, you know what I mean? I had the wheel bearings out. Yeah, I actually did. But the right side wheel bearing, when it went bad, that U-joint was fine. It worked perfect. It was fine. But that was the first wheel bearing I did, and that was right after I got the truck. So that was about 4 years ago. So within 4 years, I'm sure it could get dry. The left side, I did the wheel bearing and the U-joint at the same time. So, and I believe the ball joints at the same time. When I did my ball joints, I replaced that wheel bearing and the U-joint on the left side. Or tire dressing. There you go. Hadn't thought of that. Yeah, the right side I just did the wheel bearing, and I checked the U-joint at the time, and it was good. I haven't checked it in a while. Dish soap, yeah. I never tried dish soap either. Said the window cleaner probably has too much ammonia in it, but I have used it just to get the stuff off. It cleans it, but it doesn't. It probably dries it out. It's probably what glass cleaner does, because it turns it real white and doesn't stay black. We do have some stuff at work. I forget what it's called. It smells real fruity, and it's made for that, for vinyl and stuff. I've used it on it. It's not supposed to dry it out like, or react with it like Armor All and stuff does. Never use Armor All at all. Yeah, I missed that comment. I used to use Armor all the time. Never on this truck, and never have on this truck. But I used to all the time. and just got away from it. And then I started hearing, don't use it. Throw it in 4-wheel drive and get in dirt. Yeah, I'll do that this weekend. I'll do it out here in the driveway. It's only, so when I pull in my driveway, I pull up and make a sharp turn into the garage. And then I have to back up a little bit and get straight. So when I pull up there, I'm turned all the way usually. And I usually try and start moving before I start turning the wheel. But as soon as I turn the wheel, you hear that pop. So it's got to be something like that. And I'll just have to check it out a little bit more. It's not a big deal to change, when I do wheel bearings and stuff, I know they're known for sticking on these Dodges and really not coming apart. But I die grind everything, clean it all up and put Never-Seez like crazy on it, bathe it in Never-Seez. So last one I did, I had to tear the left side apart twice. I forget. Maybe I didn't do everything one time. Might have had to do the U-joint separate because I didn't have it or something. There was something about it. I had to tear the left side apart twice, and it was a little bit of time in between it, and it came right apart. So I don't know. We'll check it out this weekend, and I'll see if I can't figure it out. But it's not. I just had to check it out this morning, make sure it wasn't unsafe to drive, because I still got to take it to work. My dad's got my work car. He's having one of his vehicles worked on, so he borrowed it. But no, all in all, I love the truck. It's just probably the steering issue is probably the biggest complaint in my part. I said I did the steering box, and I put a new steering shaft in it, and it's not bad now. It's still not perfect, but it's not bad. I probably need to do the trailing arms. I probably need to either change out the arms or replace the bushings, one or the other, and that ought to help a bunch. But it's not bad. It really, even towing it's not bad at all. So I'm not that worried about it. It'd be perfectly safe to drive. It'd be perfectly safe to take camping. I'd like to get the popping taken care of. If it's a U-joint or something, no problem. I'll handle that before we go camping. Figure that out and take care of it. But, well, guys, Ingenious Camper, thanks for the conversation and thanks for the input. I'm gonna definitely check them places out and check that U-joint out like that. And I appreciate you watching. And I'm gonna hop off here because I got to get ready and get something to eat and head into work here in just a little bit. So I really appreciate talking to you. It was a lot of fun. And Ross, I know you're gonna watch this later. Love you, buddy. All right, and anybody that watches this later, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment or so, and I'll watch them. I read all my comments. I respond to most everybody. There's been like one or two that have been stupid, like ignorant, stupid, and I don't comment to those. But other than that, I love everybody. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video for sure. And we'll see you later, Ingenious Camper. Mike Paris. All right, I'll check you out on Facebook. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll catch you later.